Netflix, HBO Max, A24, Kendrick Lamar, Drake, Call of Duty, Mario, and Sonic. These are just fractions of entertainment that we intake each and every day to help us forget how crappy our lives are. The first movie made in 1888, the first video game made in 1958, and the first song being made in 1400 BC, which by the way is just some dude going crazy on the strings. I didn't know they could do that back in the day. Entertainment is a monumental part of every single person's life, whether it's sports, art, music, or chainsaw sculpting. But recently I've noticed that something about our entertainment nowadays has felt kind of off. It feels like a lot of entertainment has just been remixed, remastered, or rebooted. But seriously, I see so much unoriginality and laziness in what are some of the biggest pieces of entertainment that we're getting nowadays. So I want to take you through a deep dive and what I mean and take a look at modern day entertainment. Now, reboots are categorized into two different subcategories: money-making and, oh, hold on, I gotta write these down. Money-making and confusing. Now, if you're wondering what in the world I mean by confusing, don't worry, we will get to that. But let's start with the easy one first. Money making. Most of the times when a movie is successful, they will build off of that success from the movie and make an entire franchise and create a unique storyline that is told through sequels, prequels, spin-off movies. Back to the Future is a great example of this. If you didn't know this, Back to the Future was only supposed to be a standalone movie, but because of the reception that the audience gave for the movie, they ended up making a second one. Then they realized we have too much material for the second movie, so they made a third one, resulting in what we know as one of the greatest sci-fi trilogies of all time. But sometimes when a successful franchise hasn't been heard from in a long time, these little money gremlins start crawling out and try to figure out how to make the big bucks that this franchise used to make. And people like that are why we get crappy reboots. How about the 2017 Mummy reboot featuring Tom Cruise that was supposed to create this entire new universe of monsters, but after the absolute failure of the Mummy reboot, they just chalked the whole thing together. But probably the one that takes the cake of worst reboots is the Fan Four Stick movie, or the Fantastic Four reboot that came out in 2015. And I really don't think I need to say much other than you guys watching this last scene right here.
Because we're a team now, and there's 4 of us, so we should come up with a name for it.
Gotta say, it's fantastic.
Say that again?
When a reboot is bad, it's because a business is trying to force people to make a movie that is purely fueled by nostalgia, and people are only going to go see it because of the name. Now, there was also an era from 2015 to 2019 where pretty much all reboots that we got were just all female casts in what was originally an all male cast. Now, the way that these movies did it is absolutely horrendous. The Ghostbusters reboot with the all female cast absolutely bombed at the box office. Another example of this is Ocean's 8. They had an all female cast, which was originally an all male cast in Ocean's 11, and it pretty much met the same demise as Ghostbusters. Another one is Charlie's Angels from 2019. It also got the same treatment. Wait, that was already an all-female cast, so why did that one bomb? Money. The whole idea of these movies, hold on, let me get my paper. This is a lot difficult than just editing it on there. Now, there are other movies that did this, but these two are the biggest movies in this whole era of reboots. Companies thought that it was a great idea to introduce female audiences into what was normally dominated by a male audience. And that is a fantastic idea. In fact, that's a great idea. But it backfired on them completely and did the exact opposite of what they wanted it to do. Because these movies came out half-baked and horribly produced, all this hate got spewed towards women, not even just the female actors, but the entire female audience that were being introduced into these movies, which is the exact opposite of what should have happened. First off, the male audience that did this are a bunch of small losers, but also these corporate billionaires that thought that rebooting this franchise and putting half-ass work into it would be a great idea. That's who to blame right there. Don't worry, women. I stand with you. Reboots must be handled carefully and craftfully. Is craftfully even a word? Craft? Dune Part 1 and Dune Part 2 are excellent examples of this. Rather than doing what David Lynch did back in 1978, Denis Villeneuve decided to transform how the universe of Dune was told and split it up into 2 different movies, giving us expansive details, showing us the entire world of Dune, all these characters, and introducing it to us, allowing us to develop relationships with the characters in the story and completely wrap our head around what the story was being told. He took his time and actually wanted to produce and tell a great story, which is why these two movies are revered so greatly. People lose sight of the art for the greed of money, and they always fall short. Now, remember earlier how I talked about the confusing category of reboots? Well, this is my favorite part, so let's get into this. Now, for this example, we're gonna be using the Halloween franchise, and I'm gonna try to break this down as simply as I can. You're about to find out why I chose a whiteboard setting for this specific part of the video. Halloween comes out in 1978 and immediately gets a sequel called Halloween 2. All right, we're off to a good start. It doesn't seem too confusing right now. After Halloween 1 and 2, we get Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. This has no correlation to the movies that came right before it. It actually barely has any correlation to the entire franchise, as this is the only movie that does not have Michael Myers in it. Instead, they gave us a Halloween 4, which actually plays off of the ending of the second movie. So I guess they saw how that made sense, so they made a Halloween 5, Revenge of Michael Myers, and another Halloween called The Curse of Michael Myers. All right, we had a little hiccup here with Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, but they kind of got their stuff back together, and I think they know what they're doing. Halloween H2O just completely ignores the 3 movies that came previous to it and just messes everything up again. Halloween H2O skips over these 3 movies right here, Return, Revenge, and Curse of Michael Myers. It goes right back to the ending of the second movie. That means we now have 2 sets of movies that follow the ending of the second movie. I mean, I definitely think we kind of lost the vision a little bit with these 2 movies, but I mean, at least we got a sequel to this one, which maybe I guess they know what they're doing now, right? Wrong. They rebooted the whole franchise. We get Halloween again in 2007 and Halloween 2 again right after that. So that's 2 Halloween movies and 2 Halloween 2 movies. But you'll never guess what I'm about to say next. We get another Halloween movie set in 2018, which follows the events of the very first movie. After the 2018 Halloween, we got 2 more Halloween movies, Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends, which are all sequels to this 2018 Halloween movie. Confusing, right? We've got the first 2 installments of the franchise, a third one which has nothing to do with the first 2. So we got these 2 right here, then we got 4, 5, and I guess 6, which they're together, but then they also tie in with this one. Then, so this guy doesn't count. Then we get another 2 movies, and these 2 are together, but they skip past all these and just go to that one. Then we get 2 more movies. These are just by themselves. Nothing to do with any of these right here, all by themselves. Then we get 3 more movies, and these, like I said, skip all the way past up to the first one, which means we now have not 1, not 2, but 3 Halloween movies. Then we also have not 1, but 2 Halloween 2 movies. Now, while the Halloween franchise might be a little bit more on the crazy confusing side, you gotta admit, this is confusing as hell. How are a casual audience supposed to keep up with something like this? Remastering video games is something that video game companies have been doing for decades, with the first one being Super Mario All-Stars on the SNES. So for those of you who don't know what a remaster is, which is probably my mom watching this video, hi mom. A remaster is when usually an old video game gets a new coat of paint put on it to make it look a little bit more updated. Now you might be thinking, Graham, that sounds like a great idea. Being able to play an old video game in a fresh, updated look for a new experience? Wrong. That's what remakes are for. Now, if you're wondering what a remake is when a gaming studio completely overhauls an old game, not just making it look new. Here, let me just show you the difference in a remaster and a remake. I'm not gonna tell you which one is which. You figure that out for yourself.
Buonasera, Via. We were just talking about you. It's your family that cries for guards when they're...
Where should be covering our way out? Go, go, go!
Now, remasters are not the absolute worst, but to me, and specifically to me, remasters, or some remasters, feel absolutely lazy and they are 100% just trying to steal our money. I can give many examples of gaming studios who actually remastered their old games and the game came out worse than the old original one. Just to name a few, Mafia 2 Definitive Edition came out with audio bugs, characters would go cross-eyed the whole game, and the game was also capped at 30 FPS. The Silent Hill HD Collection team weren't even given the source code for the original game, so when they released the remaster, they had horrible voiceovers, so many bugs, and it looked absolutely terrible. The Grand Theft Auto Trilogy remaster, I don't even know if I need to talk about that one. If you're in the gaming space, you know that this was an absolute utter failure. Like, why waste time, money, and talent on what's going to be a lazy piece of slop that is just almost unplayable instead of, you know, building on your last game, or heck, just building a new IP? Now, you're probably already typing out, well, Graham, the people who make the remasters are completely different studios than those who make the actual game. Then why not combine forces and make a new game? Why do you got these people over here doing nothing, like wasting their time? Take them over here, take your team, boom, 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 make a new game. Like, that just makes so much more sense to me. And don't get me started on these pointless remasters. Like, why are we getting The Last of Us 2 remastered 4 years after its release? The game hasn't even hit puberty yet, and it's already got a remaster. Like, the original Last of Us 2 looked fantastic already. The remaster, what's the point? It just makes it look a little brighter. That's all it does. Now, I'm not completely against remasters. Some remasters are actually really, really good, like Sleeping Dogs Definitive Edition. Not only did they give that game a new coat of paint, but they actually added new stuff into the game that was not in the original game. It's something small, but it's at least a step in the right direction for what should be an actual remaster. Not just adding different lighting or graphical textures to the game for the sake of obviously making money. The difficult part about going over anything involving music or remixes is that I can't play any copyrighted music. So instead of playing the actual song, if I need to, I will just sing over it. Remixing and sampling has been a massive staple in the music industry, with a few examples being how MIA sampled Straight to Hell and made the song Paper Airplanes. More recently though, Metro Boomin's song Like That sampled Eazy-E's song Easy Done It, which Eazy-E sampled from the big green little rubber guy Gumby. Samples are a way to elevate a song and incorporate your own creativity to it. And it's honestly impressive to see how people do this and where they get their samples from and how they incorporate it into a song that sounds nothing like where they got their sample from. But recently, some samples have just been ripping off entire songs, barely changing the words or copying the words word for word, that's a lot of words, and then turning it into a club or a radio mix. Now, I'm not saying that all recent music is like this, but the rather small genre that has taken this role of ripping off songs and barely mixing it to be something new is pop. The most popular and top charting songs in the past 2 to 3 years, like I said, are old songs that have barely been mixed and they have a club or radio mix. And just to name a few of the big ones that you definitely know about, we've got I'm Good by BB Rexa and David Guetta. I think that's how you say his name.
David Guetta.
First Class by Jack Harlow, and Cold Heart by Dua Lipa and Elton John. Fun fact, Dua Lipa actually has an album called Future Nostalgia where she played songs that from her childhood, and she kind of remixed it with a modern remix, but this song is not a part of it, so it doesn't count. Now let me be clear, there are some absolute fantastic remixes, but these pop remixes are not that. This is just lazy songwriting with the hopes of riding the success of nostalgia to a #1 hit again. I don't know if Elton John needs help paying child support, or maybe he's stuck in like a Bruno Mars situation where he's like billions of dollars in gambling debt and can't do anything to get out of it. But man, he is the main culprit of all of this. Some of these popular songs that I've been talking about are just Elton John songs barely mixed with a club beat, and then they just slap his name on there. Matter of fact, go ahead and throw David Guetta on there too. This dude is the king of remixes. With the success that he's gotten from all of them, he's become the #9 top artist on Spotify. I don't know if he still is, because I looked that up a little bit ago, but it might have changed. But #9 top Spotify artist. Now listen, hey, if you like these songs, go you. Hey, that's your thing. I just hope that when the going gets tough and songwriters are actually challenged, we don't go back to this bleak and lazy songwriting. I would hate to hear someone like Morgan Wallen get a #1 hit by remixing Bad to the Bone with his awful country twang. Now, I know it probably sounded like I just sat here and whined and complained for however long this video is, but I am truly thankful for any form of entertainment that we get, whether it be good or bad. I also appreciate the process that it takes to create said entertainment. I know it's not easy. Like, I'm just filming a YouTube video with some lighting and a camera and a microphone, and I am already just like overwhelmed, and I can't comprehend how much it takes to create music, video games, or movies. With that being said, I really do believe that you, yes, you, the audience, deserve the very best, or at least the very best that we can be offered. I actually made this point in my last YouTube video where I talked about Disney Plus TV shows, where they're shilling out hundreds of millions of dollars into something they obviously are just trying to make money on, and they don't care about creating something that with passion and with another word that our audiences like us can enjoy. And while you might think that I'm against anything that involves a remix, a remaster, or a reboot, that could not be more opposite. Earlier, I mentioned Dune Part 1 and Dune Part 2, but now I want to mention 2022's The Batman. That movie is in my top 5 movies of all time, and it's a reboot. I mean, sometimes a reboot is necessary. You can't have Val Kilmer playing Batman anymore. You gotta have somebody new. So a reboot is necessary. But The Batman works because not only is it a new take on our live action Batman being more grounded and actually investigating things, but they took the time and made sure it honored the legacy of Batman, and it worked. I mean, that movie is fantastic. Whether you're listening to a whether you're listening to a remix or watching a reboot or playing a remastered video game, it should be something that honors the original's legacy and gives you, the enjoyer, a great experience to be remembered. Thank you guys for watching this video. I appreciate it. If you are new here, check out my other video. I kind of mentioned earlier, I talked about Disney Plus TV shows and how they suck. But I really do appreciate you guys sticking around. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did not, please don't yell at me. I will cry. Hope you guys have a great day. Merry Christmas. This video is probably gonna come out after Christmas, so it's probably gonna come out after New Year's too. So both of those, hope you had a great one of those, and I'll catch you in the next one. Toodles!